So one of my favorite boxing channels made a video titled, "Who Beat Shakur Stevenson?" And it got me thinking, can anyone beat Shakur Stevenson? So I know I might have the reputation of being a Shakur fanboy, a Shakur glazer, meat writer. There's multiple ways you could describe me. But not today, not today, not today. Today we're going to be completely fair, objective, and non-biased. I figured I'd make my own tier list to talk about who has the best chance of being Shakur Stevenson right now. I'm going to talk about all the fighters that he brought up and kind of agree or disagree with his takes. Let's begin. The first fighter that he brought up was Teofimo Lopez. He was deciding between putting him in decent chance and low chance. His reasoning was that Shakur is a better boxer and Teo's always looked his best when he fought aggressive people that he could counterpunch with, and he's always looked his worst when he's forced to be on the front foot. Despite me agreeing with his take, I feel like Teo should be in the no category. I feel like Teo really struggles against defensive fighters, and there's just no way he's going to look good against Shakur. The next person he talks about is Abdullah Mason. He also put Abdullah Mason in decent chance just because of his raw athleticism. But me, I'm going to put Abdullah Mason under no. He's just too green, too inexperienced. He hasn't really fought anyone near Shakur's level yet. So to say he has a chance is kind of blasphemous. So I'm going to put Abdullah Mason in no also. The next person he talks about is Keyshawn Davis. He put him in close fight, 50-50. His reasoning being that Keyshawn and Shakur fight kind of similarly, that they have a lot of the same strength, but Keyshawn's a lot stronger, therefore he'd have a better chance. But my counter argument to that is that if their styles are similar and fighting a similar style will make it harder on Shakur, it would also make it harder on Keyshawn as well. And also too, yes, Keyshawn hits harder than Shakur, but Shakur has better defense, better distance management. He's smarter, better ring generalship. Other than just raw power, Shakur does literally everything else better. So I feel like you gotta put Keyshawn in no. The next person he talked about was Ryan Garcia. He put him in low chance. Again, he's in no chance. Like, let's be honest. He got outboxed by Rolly. Zero chance. Zero. The next person brought up was Matias. Matias isn't really a great boxer. He kind of has to rely on, physicality and roughing people up on the inside. And I feel like Shakur won't let someone as powerful as Matias get on the inside of him. I genuinely believe that Shakur only let Zepeda work on the inside because, one, he was trying to make a statement, and two, he wasn't really worried about Zepeda's power. Against someone as strong as Matias, I feel like Shakur will definitely move a lot more, hug a lot more, not really give him the chance to even get on the inside, to be honest. So I feel like Matias also has to be in no chance. The next person brought up was Andy Cruz. It was a funny joke that he said Andy Cruz probably has the best chance to beat him in an amateur fight. I agree with that. But I feel like in a pro fight, Cruz has no chance. Let's be honest. I have to also put Cruz in no. The next person brought up was Raymond, but let's just put him in no to save time. Sam Norks, let's also put him in no. The next person he brings up is Tank and how he has a decent chance. I completely disagree with this. If you know me, you know that I hate Tank. Hate him. So I already made 2 videos on how he's a fraud, how he's overrated. You could go watch those videos if you like, but nah, Tank has no chance. The next person he talks about is Lamont Roach, and he makes an interesting point. He's arguing that even though Lamont will beat Tank in the rematch, he thinks that Tank has a better chance to beat Shakur. And I actually agree. I feel like with Tank's power, Tank's patience, and overall ring IQ, I definitely feel like Tank would have a better chance to beat Shakur than Lamont, just stylistically speaking. And by that logic, if Tank has no chance to beat Shakur and Lamont has less of a chance to beat him than Tank does, then I also got to put Lamont in no chance. Maybe even negative chance. The next person he talks about is Devin Haney, and he actually put Haney in close fight 50-50. His reasoning being that Haney is also a good, smart boxer who likes to use his jab and box from range. So it's kind of similar to the Keyshawn Davis situation where both him and Shakur are going to be kind of trying to outbox each other from range. And I do agree. Like I said before, styles make fights, and I feel like Haney's style is going to be more difficult for someone like Shakur than someone like Garcia. Even though Garcia beat Haney rather easily, I still feel like Haney's kind of like sit back and jab style is going to be kind of annoying for someone like Shakur to handle, who also wants to just sit back and jab. But unlike Keyshawn Davis, Haney has no power. If you look at it on paper, Shakur literally does everything better than Haney. He hits harder, he's faster, he's stronger, better distance management, better defense, and most importantly, way better chin. I don't see Haney outboxing Shakur for 12 rounds, and there's no way that Haney knocks him out. So, how the hell is Haney going to win? We have to put him in no chance also. Next person he talks about, Eduardo Nunes. Let's just put him in no. Kid Austin, also no chance. Also, he's a bitch. The next person he talks about is Gary Russell Jr. Honestly, he looked really good against his last fight against Jose Venezuela. However, he does struggle a lot against slick technical boxers. If Shakur and Russell were to fight, I feel like the fight would play out very similarly to how when Russell fought Puello, where Puello kind of just sitting on the back foot, jabbing, moving, countering, and Russell kind of rushing in there trying to land whatever he can. Simply stated, Puello outboxed him, and I feel like Shakur could definitely outbox him as well. I have to put Russell in no chance because of that. Someone else who's also going in the no category is Richardson Hitchens. Again, Hitchens is a good boxer. He could hold his own against most opponents, but Shakur ain't most opponents. Let's be real, Hitchens, no chance. And the last person he brought up was Sandor Martin. I feel like Sandor Martin's a very interesting case because, in my opinion, he beat Teofimo Lopez, he beat Alberto Puello, and he actually did beat Mikey Garcia. He's a very slept-on fighter, and he has a very difficult style to deal with. But so does Shakur. I feel like if they were to fight, this fight would honestly be the most boring fight of all time, where both of them are kind of just standing around, feigning, waiting for the other person to do something and react. But, as you probably guessed, I'm going to have to put Sandor Martin also in the no category. Like, come on, Shakur is just him. He's way too good on defense, way too smart on offense. Like, how are you going to beat Shakur? Like, he's literally the perfect boxer. Sandor ain't beating him, Keyshawn ain't beating him, Tank ain't beating him, none of these fools are beating him. I think in a hypothetical scenario, Keyshawn Davis and Gary Russell Jr. have the best chance to beat Shakur, hypothetically speaking, but they ain't going to do it, though. So you might be wondering, okay, if all the best fighters at 135 and 140 can't beat Shakur, who does? Now that, my friend, is a great question. Probably Usyk, maybe Daniel Dubois, maybe Bivol. I don't know. I think Shakur versus Bivol might be a close fight, but I think he has a chance. Canelo, maybe a decent chance for Canelo. Yeah, I think Canelo would be like low to decent chance, honestly. Let's see, who else? Crawford, no. Boots, hell no. No, I think it's just those four guys. Maybe just Usyk, Dubois, Canelo, and Bivol. I think those four guys have a chance. But yeah, that's my completely objective, no bias whatsoever list of who could beat Shakur Stevenson. If you agree, congratulations, you have a triple-digit IQ. If not, that's tough, but I can't really make fun of you, you know. But if you think anyone else could beat Shakur Stevenson, make sure to put it in the comments below so I can sit you down and educate you sometime. But yeah, that's all I got for today. Hope to see you in the next one. Peace.